I got this message on my answer phone saying, Jane Birkin wants one of your Gansborg's God jumpers. And I thought, oh God, you know, this is so exciting. And then Kate Moss bought one and got photographed, and it became a thing. Hi Vogue, I'm Bella Freud. Welcome to my home. Today I'm going to show you some of my objects of affection. In the 90s, the maisonette at the front of the building was a home of everyone who's ever been creative, practically. Kate Moss and Mario Sorrenti lived here, Glenn Lutchford. But this bit at the back was a bit of a dump. And then when it became available, I bought it, and with Maria Speak, the architect from Vitruvius, we pulled the whole thing down and built this kind of sanctuary. So this is my kitchen. One of the things I want to show you are these pinch pot cups, which were made for me by one of my closest friends called Kim Sion. My routine every morning is I come into my kitchen and I make the strongest coffee that I can make. And then I pour it into one of these red mugs, which is also the same colour red as my 1970 jumper, and I love this tomato soup colour. And I sit down and have a bit of toast and marmalade. I usually put my feet on the table. My next object is this photograph of me and my father. It's taken by Bruce Bernard. So my father was an artist. His name is Lucian Freud. He died about 11 years ago. He worked all the time, so my way of getting to know him was to sit for him. He was incredibly good company and very, very interesting and sort of irreverent. He wasn't very parental in the traditional sense, but he was very protective in an animalistic way. I had this idea of asking if Bruce could come and take some pictures of us, and I really didn't think he'd say yes, but he did say yes. And so Bruce came over and we just started sort of having a really good time. And then he suddenly stood on his head. My expression is like, Dad, you know. So this is my TV room and library. It doesn't have any direct light at all in here. And I also had found a swatch of this almost fluorescent orange carpet, like very Francis Bacon orange. And I thought, oh, that will be good in here because the sort of shadowiness mutes the orangeness of the carpet, and it's like lava underground. Well, I'm ashamed to say I've never finished a Sigmund Freud book. I feel like that's something I've got to look forward to. I'm really interested in everything about him, really. My father said he was very funny, so that seems a great quality, a great characteristic. So in here is my amazing bathroom. It's so luxurious. I never imagined I'd have such an incredible place to sort of wander into every morning. So my object is this golden hand, and it's part of my friend Susie Cave's jewellery collection, and it's Nick Cave's hand. I'm very close to Susie. She was very instrumental and an important person to me when I started my own label. I hate that word muse, but she was a real inspiration to me. I've made quite a few films over the years, and I've always asked Susie to be in them. But the one that she was able to be in was the second short film I made with John Malkovich called Lady Behave. I wanted to find somebody who I could collaborate with. Somebody suggested talking to John. I told him all about my ideas, and he said, listen, I can't do it. I'm right in the middle of making this film with Spike Jonze, and he was making Being John Malkovich. And then he said, maybe Spike Jonze should do it, you know, blah, blah. And I said, I just want you to do it. He suddenly said, okay, I'm going to do it. The storyline was, there was a girl who was so piggish, had such terrible habits that her boyfriend said he'd leave if she didn't go to the Lady Behave School of Etiquette. Susie was the heavenly head girl. So this is my bedroom. This object is one of my first word sweaters, as I call them. I was making this short film with John called Hideous Man. Hideous Man is a poet, and his book club fans are waiting for him to arrive to do a reading, and I wanted the kind of queen of the literary fan club to be wearing a kind of merch type of thing. My friend, who's a stylist, Kathy Castorine, said, "Do you remember the photographs of that t-shirt people used to wear with Clapton is God on?" And then I realised it was Ginsberg is God. My assistant at the time said, "But what about Goddard is dog?" So I thought, yeah, Goddard is dog is great because it doesn't mean anything. And there's a lot of beatnik poetry where you just think, is this rubbish or is this brilliant? Kate Moss bought one from the one shop we sold it in and got photographed, and it became a thing. After Ginsberg is God, I got this message on my answer phone saying, "Jane Birkin wants one of your Gainsbourg is God jumpers." And I thought, oh God, you know, this is so exciting, but I can't just do everyone is God. So I made a jumper and it said "Je t'aime Jane," and then on the back it said "Gainsbourg is God." Then Alexa Chung wore that jumper and it went mad. I had like orders for thousands and I only had about 100. So this is a pale blue suit, one of my many pale blue suits that I've made. I was always struck by Peter Rabbit's pale blue jacket and how cool it was, and like, it's not the easiest colour to wear, but if you can pull it off and walk into a room in that gentle, appealing vibe that it gives up, is such a success. Recently I made one for Tilda Swinton and it was just sensational. It was just the most disarming thing. So this is my sitting room, and one of my objects of affection is this painting by a young artist called Charlie Gosling. He's a brilliant painter. He's 22, and that was from his first exhibition, his first solo show. It's fantastic to be able to support someone when they're at that point in their career. I liked the shirt and tie. As you can see, it's one of my themes. I love uniforms. I love the way that when you kind of mess with them a tiny bit, they're so anarchic. I always longed to wear a school uniform, but my progressive school abolished theirs, which was so annoying. I was dying to wear a tie. Anyway, I do now. So this is an old hospital trolley that was in my dad's hallway, full of old tubes of paint. My sister, who was the executor, she got some of his paintbrushes and gave each of his children some of them. And I love the smell of paint and linseed and terps. Just feels like we're about to start working. When I started my own brand, I asked him to write my name because he had this great handwriting. And then he did a little drawing with a picture of the Whippet, Pluto, who'd been my dog that I gave to him. Thank you, Vogue, for spending the day with me and looking at all my stuff.